What's up, everybody? It's Critical. I think I have laryngitis, or maybe I've been poisoned by Bud Light for giving away their secret ingredient, which is urine. But either way, I figured I might as well strike while the iron is hot and read a weird fan fiction story and play the part of a man going through puberty while reading it. So I chose the Jurassic Park fan fiction known as Root Her by Michael Collins. Robert Muldoon was not a man to be trifled with. For years, he had plied his trade as a big game hunter in Kenya, utilizing every scrap of his savage cunning and imposing physical frame, as well as his arsenal of highly explosive weaponry to outsmart, outmaneuver, butchered that word there, holy shit, and out-explode some of the mightiest and most dangerous creatures known to man. I'm gonna skip around. I haven't read this yet, but that's a very boring start, except for out-exploding the fucking dinosaurs, whatever that means. The velociraptor had parted her jaws and looked about to strike, but suddenly she stopped as if unsure of herself. Joffrey was confused. Why hadn't this hot Cretaceous babe mauled him like the filthy descendant of a wretched shoe-like thing that he was? Why was he not being lovingly absorbed by the digestive system of this perfect, carrion-scented Aphrodite? Almost as if he dared not speculate, he glanced up at her, still expecting the final strike that would end his sexually confused mammalian existence, and saw at once that it would not come. Her eyes were still marked by a ferocious hunger, but it was not for shredded meat she seemed to slaver. She clearly wanted the meat intact. Joffrey couldn't believe his luck. Slowly she backed away from him. Wow, I'm really fucking struggling on this word. Then coyly turned around so her bird-like hips were on full display, mere inches from his face. From this angle he could see her smooth, hairless slit. As he began to drool, she started to shake her hips from side to side seductively, and my laptop just got a blue screen for absolutely no reason. Wow, my laptop was so disgusted at me for reading this story, it fucking self-destructed. I'll deal with that another time. For now I have to see how this sexual renaissance of sorts will unfold. Where was I? Hairless slit, side to side seductively, delicately spraying him with gallons upon gallons of dinosaur sexual pheromones, so she had in some gland that all velociraptors had, but that didn't get fossilized with the rest of them because it was too soft somehow. Cautiously at first, lest he somehow alarm her or turn her off, Joffrey began to lightly rub the area around her velocigina. Wow, what an incredible word. With his chin, nuzzling the rough, pebble-like folds of skin surrounding it with his tongue, the creature howled with a terrifying, primordial delight and thrust herself back against Joffrey's mouth, knocking out his front teeth and ramming his lower jaw deep inside her. Joffrey whispered seductively as he continued to work his magic on her with his mouth parts, delicately teasing her harsh, sandpaper-like clitoris as he did so. That's the exact same noise I make during sex, that just in the height of my climax, just really when I'm in the zone, just really in the mood and feeling it. It's a really good strategy. I'd recommend implementing it into your coitus adventures. The velociraptor continued to bellow and howl and echo her savage, predatorial joy across the construction site as Joffrey brought her halfway to climax. With one exaggerated movement, she threw her hips violently to one side, dislodging Joffrey's lower jaw from her deep hot minge and hammering against the side of the cage. Winded, he collapsed to the floor, his face a brutal-looking mess of blood, bone, flesh, dinosaur sex pheromones, and primeval vaginal juices. The velociraptor was a merciless predator, but she was not a selfish lover. It was time to reciprocate. As Joffrey lay battered on the cage floor, barely able to move, she approached him and lightly rested her perfectly shaped foot on his crotch. Even though his dislocated muscle, she could feel the bulge. She grinned, as all velociraptors are pretty much forced to do because of their bone structure, and with one deft flick of her curved toe claw, she tore through the lining of his pants and exposed his engorged, throbbing member. Joffrey mumbled with ecstasy through his maimed features as the creature appraised him. She was mildly disappointed at the lack of insemination barbs on his manhood, but she had come too far now. Invested too much time to stop the process this close to completion. It's like some type of fucking ritual. Man, sex with dinosaurs must be some type of ceremonial adventure. Wrapping her tail around his waist, she pulled him to his feet and slammed herself against his erect cock, moaning wickedly as it pushed apart the sides of her opening and entered her. Little bubbles of pleasure formed in the red-black foam on Joffrey's mouth as she forced herself further back, taking him deep inside her. On top of the cage, I don't care about this weird man filming them. There, the velociraptor was grinding and bucking back against Joffrey with terrifying savagery now, and she could feel the warmth beginning to build up in her nether regions as his rod-hard dick slammed in and out of her orifice. Fervently, she rocked against the side of the cage, ignoring any water. This is just too hot and steamy. Fervently, she rocked against the side of the cage, ignoring Joffrey's impassioned, gurgling noises as she brought herself closer and closer to a meteoric climax. Finally, the raptor could take it no more, squealing as if she intended to drown out all the sounds that had ever been made by anything in the history of ever. She came hard and fast, her vaginal walls constricted around Joffrey like a vice, as wave after wave of putrid velociraptor love Tabasco squirted everywhere, dousing the floor and walls of the cage in a layer of horribleness half an inch thick. Joffrey screamed in agony as his frail, warm-blooded member was crushed by this merciless barrage, and tried desperately to pull it out of her, but it was too late. In a final act of climax, she spun around again, taking him with her, and cracking his spine in two. Acting on pure instinct, she sank her powerful jaws into the sides of his skull, and bit down hard, ripping his head clean in half, and scattering flesh and blood everywhere. As her teeth entered his brain, they triggered his pleasure and pain senses, sending him at once into the most disturbingly intense agony a human being could possibly experience, and bringing him to such heights of ecstasy as humankind can only dream of. Then he died. I don't really want to continue reading because that was just so perfect. This right here is a literary magnum opus. I don't know about all of you, but I am extremely erect. I'm glad I read this. I'm gonna go not talk for the rest of the day, so that way my voice doesn't continue to sound like a 12-year-old boy just ate a cactus. So, thank you for sharing on this marvelous dinosaur sexcapade with me, and I hope all of our cum will be ever putrid, prehistoric, and savage. Alright, see ya.